Hello YouTube, Brian Tubbs coming back at you with another video. This is part 2 of trying to repair reaching from the storm that it went through, that I spoke about it in the last video. I think there was a tornado in the distance. It really had really high winds that came through and blew this over at the law office. Again, they didn't have it screwed to the ground. They didn't have stakes in the ground. It was just sitting on dirt at the edge of their building, so the wind just kind of just whipped through. So it fell twice. The first time it fell, they didn't tell us about it. They just stood it back up in a different position. And then the second time it fell, they didn't tell us about it. We just happened to learn about it. We went down to the area to deliver another piece we call Waves. And we just stopped by here just to his office just to take a look at it. We was going to clean it up a little bit with some stainless steel cleaner, make sure there was no bird droppings or anything else on it like we normally do. But then I was cleaning this portion, and I heard a little rattling sound, and that's when I, after some thought and moving things around, because I said after we welded it up, it's solid, it shouldn't be moving around. That's when we found out this donut was loose because it had fell twice, and it damaged here because it fell forward the second time. The first time it fell on this side over here, and did a little bit of damage here and here. The second time it fell forward because they rotated the position, and the concrete smashed, just pushed that back and broke the weld up top, which I'm glad it did, because had it not, it would have smashed this donut. This would not have been reusable, and it would have damaged this even more up top. So really I would have just been having to make a new piece. Of course I would have charged him. I'm sure he wouldn't mind paying, but as it is, I'm doing this at no charge, just as a courtesy. I mean, he bought this piece, he bought another tabletop piece from my son, actually from us. And then he bought a painting from my son at the same show. So we became, kind of, friends. So I'm really just doing this as a courtesy to him. And like I said before, I was going to, because it's bent in here, it has dips on both sides of the wheel on top, on this top plate. I was going to just get a pry bar, weld it to the metal, and try and pry it up on this side and on this side over here. But I decided that wouldn't look quite right, because there's another sculpture on the opposite side of his building. Really nice piece. And I don't want our piece to be looking like it came, from a third grade or kindergarten class. So no, it has to be up to snuff. It has to be, perfect. So that's what I'm going through. I'm cutting. Between the last video and this one, I've cut a line on this side through here, and on the back of this I've cut a line. I was going to wait till I get everything cut out and then do the filming, but I figured I'll let you guys go ahead and see what I'm doing. I'll just cut these last two sides out. I was going to use the plasma cutter, but I don't want to burn through this and then burn a hole, then cut through this, and then I'm stuck with having to weld all that stuff up. So I'm just using the cut-off wheel to cut a line here and down this seam on this side. Then I should be able to take the donut out and just cut another piece of Cor-Ten, put it in there, probably TIG bolt it in, grind it down, get it smooth and blend it, and then weld this piece back on, bolt it to the top, smooth everything else out, and be pretty much done, be ready to deliver it back to him. But I had my wife call him and tell him that he needs to put a concrete pad down, either a 2x2 or a 3x3 concrete pad, so that when I delivered it, I can just drill through the concrete, put the bolts in, the anchors, and screw this thing down, and it won't happen again. He might not. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm about to cut this seam right here. Then I'm going to try and cut across this upper portion here without damaging this wheel anymore. So that's where I'm at. So you guys can just sit back, grab some popcorn, and watch me do it. It's going to be a little loud because this cutoff wheel is just cutting right into metal, so it's going to be loud, a lot of sparks. So just sit back and take a look. But this is a part of the art world too. I mean, but most artists that I know wouldn't do this. They would try and charge the customer for another either new piece, or they would charge them for repairs, for their time and all that kind of stuff. But again, the guy bought 3 pieces from us, and that's just a start. I mean, he has customers coming to his office all the time. They're seeing the piece, they'll be calling, wanting pieces, so I'll just do it for him. And I just want to see how I would do it if it ever happened again. So it's fun for me. I'm just doing what I like to do. I mean, this piece right here is one of the most difficult pieces that we make because there's so many parts to it. I mean, you have the part that goes here, and then you have the front part. It appears as though it's going through the metal, but on this piece it's not. But on the piece that we have outside, that one is actually going through the metal, coming out the front. There's so many pieces on here, it takes 2, sometimes 3 weeks to make this thing, because I'm making this, I'm making another piece because I don't want to spend all the time screwing around making this thing, so I'm making other pieces. And so here it is, I'm having to repair one. So it's a lot easier repairing it than it is making it, so I'm just going to have some fun doing it. Alright, here we go. Right, got that side. That seam is cut out. It's pretty dangerous because my fingers are right there. So I'm having to try and keep a straight line. And remember my fingers are there, because oftentimes if you're not thinking, you're more focused on something else, like a camera or something, or someone's talking to you. Before you know it, you'll put your fingers out there and your fingers are gone. This cutoff will cut your fingers off like butter. So you really have to be careful doing it. And that was another reason I was going to not film this portion, because it's dangerous, very, very dangerous. So that's why I'm not really talking or anything, I'm just focusing in. So now I cut inside of this seam. So now I'm going to cut this top portion, but I'm not going to come all the way out to the edge, because if I do that, then I got to be trying to fix this metal in here when I weld it together, and that's pretty tough, because you got to squeeze it and try and weld it and try and keep it from rolling and all that stuff. So I'm just going to try and do a pretty smooth, straight cut in here. I have a line marked in with my my scribe, so I'm just going to try and follow that line as much as I can without damaging the stainless steel. I think I'm going to clamp right this. The reason I have this clamp on here is I'm trying to pull this wheel back this way so I can get some clearance up here so I can cut that line. Because if I take this strap off of here, this donut's going to want to roll forward. And then I don't want to be trying to hold this back and cut with this at the same time. So I just kind of strapped it in just to pull it back. I'm going to pull it a little more. Yeah, it's even better. Alright, well here we go. One more little edge right there. I'll cut that. It'll be ready to go. That should have done it, but we'll see. I pulled my hand back. Sparks were burning through my leather gloves. And it hurt. All right. Let me see what we have here. Right. So far so good. It didn't fall. All right. Come on. Now the donut has nerve to come out after I did all that work. That's what it looks like. About 4-inch width, 11, 12, 13-inch diameter, just depending on what we're doing with it. So that's that. This is a piece I cut out. It has a dip here. It goes down and in. It has a dip here. So it goes down and goes down, and the wheel was sitting on the more level piece. So like I said, I was going to try and get a pry bar welded to this spot, put the pry bar on that upper lip there, maybe get a piece of wood, put it in there, and use as leverage, trying to pop this back out and do the other side. But it's stretched now, so if I had popped it out, it would have been too high. I don't want to have to be taking my torch, trying to heat shrink it and all that stuff. It was just easier just to cut the piece out and put a new piece in. So what I'll do now is get another piece identical to this. I'll make another piece. I got to put the roll in because there's a slight roll to it. I'll put that on over there and roll it and clean everything up in there, in here. Set the new piece in, tack it in, and then I'll be covering up the stainless. And most likely I'll just TIG weld it all in, because like I said, I've said earlier in earlier videos, TIG welding is a lot softer than MIG, so I wouldn't want to spend much time at all knocking those welds down, blending it in. With the TIG, with the MIG, it'll take a little bit longer. And then I don't want to dig into the surrounding metal too much. So I think I'll just go ahead and just TIG it in, smooth it down, put the donut in. After I finish the other little spots that I have to finish up, TIG weld the little seams, little spots in, and be done. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. And I would assume I will be doing a part 3 once I get a little bit further along in this. Alright guys, this is Bryant Tubbs, and I will talk to you on the next video. And as usual, peace.